I wanted to make a little video to show you the basics of editing in Lightroom. So you'll start by opening up your Lightroom program. It's down at the bottom dock. And you'll click that to open it up. Mine is already open. Yours will take a second, and it may even ask you to log in the first time. It won't ask you to log in every time, just the first time with your plain-edge credentials. When you get into Lightroom, there are a bunch of different modules up at the top, or little tabs up here. We're only going to worry about two of the tabs, Library and Develop. Library is where you can view your photos, you can organize them, and you can also import them and export them. Importing photos is to bring photos into the program. Exporting photos is to pull photos out of the program. Okay, so in the beginning, when you want to bring photos in, you import. At the end, when you want to pull them out, you export. Okay. So right now I wanted to go over how to import your photos. So you'll click the little button in the bottom left corner. And basically what this shows you is where you're taking the photos from. It'll show you the photos here in the center and then where they're going to. First thing you need to do is select a source up at the top. You're going to select desktop. A whole bunch of stuff is probably going to come up. Well, maybe not for you because you don't have that much on your desktop, but I have tons of stuff on my desktop. So a whole bunch comes up for me. So I'm going to come down here. If your 10 rules folder immediately comes up, then that's cool. You can just stop there. But a bunch of stuff loads in for me. So I'm going to come down to users. I'm going to find my name. And then I'm going to go to desktop. And then my 10 rules folder. Okay, and in here is where you would have your 10 rules photos. Okay, and what you would do is you would select the photos by checking the boxes in the corner. Down here you can see there's a check all and uncheck all. So if you want all the photos that are there, you can just leave them all checked and press import in the corner. If you want to uncheck them all and select them on your own, you'd press uncheck all and check the little box in each corner of the photos. Okay, so I'm going to press cancel because I'm not going to import any photos right now, but you are, so you'll press import. Okay. Once you have your photos imported, I have them here already. Once you have your photos imported, you want to put them in what's called a collection. And this basically just helps you to keep your photos organized so that you know where to find them every single time you come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these 4 photos that I imported. Okay, I'm going to select them by holding Shift and clicking the first one and then clicking the last photo. Okay, so again, I clicked the first photo and then I'm holding the Shift key on my keyboard and I'm clicking the last photo and they all will select. And then I'm going to scroll down over here on the side till I find collections. And then I'll just press this little plus sign. Okay, and you're going to call this 10 rules. Okay. You want to make sure it says include selected photos and then create. And every time you import photos into Lightroom, you are going to want to make a new collection. And then you'll see over here on the side, it'll show you the names of your collections. And you'll always know where to find your photos. Okay, so we like to keep everything really nice and organized over there. Okay. Once you've done that, you're done in the library module for now, and you're ready to go into the develop module. Okay, so I'm going to click develop up here, and I'm just going to pull a photo up. Okay, and a little bit about the develop module. On this side of the screen, it shows you a preview. It gives you zoom options up here at the top. Okay, so if you wanted to zoom the photo in, click, unclick to zoom. Presets are over here on the side. Presets are a sort of filter. Okay, those are over here on the side. There are some built into the program, and you also can add your own into the program. Okay, and then over here also is your history. Okay, and history is important because it shows you everything that you've done to the photo. Okay, so I've played around with this photo before, and you can see that you can go back to a certain point in the photo if you want to. Okay, so I can go back to this crazy green that I did if I wanted to, and then I actually reset the settings after that. So you can go back to any point in your photo through the history. You can also view what you did to edit the photo. Okay. In the center of the screen, you have the picture, and then you also have a couple other things. You have a full screen view, a reference view, which allows you to pull an image from your film strip below to use it as a reference for editing the photo. So you pull the image up on one side, and then you can have your image that you're actively working on the right-hand side. This is great if you wanted to match editing of the photos, you wanted it to be cohesive and look the same. You can pull up a reference image to play with. And then there's also a before and after view. So you can view what your photo looked like when you started and then what it looks like now and kind of just compare the two. And there's a couple different view modes of this. You can have a split screen, side by side, etc. Okay. I usually mostly edit in the full screen mode. At the bottom, you have your film strip where all your other photos in that collection are stored. Okay. And then on this side is all of your editing options. Okay, so you have your temperature and tint, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, all of these things are going to apply to your full photo. Okay, so any of these sliders that you play with are going to make changes to the entire photo. Okay, so if I play with some of these edits, it's going to change the entire photo, not just one area of the photo. Okay, and this is just more or less playing around until the photo looks the way that you want it to look. And then you have a bunch of other options as you scroll down. Tone curve we're going to wait to talk about, but this little color panel is really cool because you can click a specific color and you can play with those options for that color. So I have red here, so I can desaturate red. Okay, I can change the tone of red. Okay, let's do it with yellow because it's not reading that color as yet. Red, you can desaturate, you can saturate it more, you can change the color of the red. Okay, so now it's orange, now it's more green. So this is something really cool to play with specific colors. Okay, hue is the tone of the color, so how the color looks. Saturation is how bright the color is, and then luminance is how much transparency is in the color, how much light is coming through that color. You can do that with any of your colors. Most of these down here we're gonna avoid for right now, but those are your basic editing options. This first panel here that actually says basic, and the color panel. Those are your kind of beginner editing options over here. And then there's also a few other things. There's the crop. Okay, you want to always make sure that the lock over here is locked. Okay, and then you can change the crop of the photo. If you pull this down and up at the same time, I know that's an odd description, but when you try it, you'll be able to do it. You can change a horizontal photo to vertical. Okay, down and over. Okay, you can change the angle of the photo. If you shot crooked, you can work on that. Okay, and that's in this little box up here. This is a healing tool and a cloning tool, which is how you would take something out of the photo that you don't want. Scrolling with the little ball on the mouse will allow you to make it bigger or smaller. And then you can take something away. All right. You You can also heal, so if you're working on skin and there's a blemish, you can do the healing brush, which works similarly, okay? The clone tool is not always perfect. Like, I don't love the way that looks, so I'm going to kind of like mess it up a little bit and play around and try to blend that in. Yeah, and that looks better. This is for red eye. You won't really need that too much, but it's there if you do. This is a graduated filter, so it gives you the ability to edit one area on the photo. So you just kind of like pull down from the top or pull down from the sides, and you can like darken a certain area or change the saturation of that area. And you just do it by clicking and pulling over. To delete any of these little points, you just press the little button on it and press delete, and it will go away. This one is the same thing as last, but round. Okay, radial filter, and it's going to do everything but the inside of the circle, and you also have the option to invert it. So if you wanted everything that's inside the circle to change, you would just invert it. And again, to delete, you just press the delete key. And then this last one here that looks like a little makeup brush is the brush. You have an option here to change the option. So if you click here, there's iris enhance, soften skin, clarity, all of these different options that were in the basic panel, but now you can do them in just a small area rather than on the whole picture. So I'm just going to do saturation just because it's an easy one to see. So saturation down here, I can tell it how much I want it to do. So I'm going to go way up just to make it really obvious where I do this. Okay, so you can see I'm only brushing on this certain area. You can see the saturation changing. Also, if you're unsure, you can click the selected mask overlay down here, and it will show you exactly where you are painting. Okay, so you'll play around with these options, delete to get rid of it, and then press done when you want to get out of it, and it'll bring you back to the basic layer panel. Okay, if you're ever confused about how to get back, there's usually a done key, and it will bring you right back to this basic panel here. Up here on the histogram, it's going to show you what settings you used on your camera. So right here you see ISO 100, 50 millimeter is just the lens that I used, f1.8 is my aperture, and 1/4000th of a second was my shutter speed. So you are able to check your settings on here and make sure that everything looks good. If you're feeling like there's a problem with the photo, it's really grainy or something's going on, you can kind of check yourself up here and be able to tell if you made a mistake in your settings. Okay. Once you're done with your photos, you'll go back to the library module and you'll select the photos that you've finished. So I'm going to just click the first one, shift click the last one, and I'm going to press export. And this box is going to come up for you. Okay, you're going to tell the computer where you want it to export to. We're going to choose desktop. You're going to put it in a folder. Okay, it'll make its own folder. So you can change this to 10 rules, edited, and then you can rename the files if you'd like to. Custom name sequence, you can call them 10 rules. And then that's really it for now. You would just do those things, make sure you know where the photos are going, and then you'd press export. I'm not going to do it because I don't need them. And then they would just show up right on your desktop of your computer and give you the option to pull those right into your Google Drive. And then you would be done. Okay, so that's the basics of editing in Lightroom, and I hope that's helpful to you. If you're using the mobile version, it's going to look similar, and you would be able to find all of these options there. In the mobile version, they just may look a little tiny bit different, but it's worth poking around. Okay, all right, guys, good luck.